So, I'm sitting in my car, engine off, just staring at my phone, waiting for a text that's never coming. It's pathetic. Right. But I'm not the pathetic one here. I'm Elise, 29. And my life's a freaking circus. Except I'm not the one juggling. I'm the one getting clowns thrown at me. My husband, Theo, is out there living like he's some misunderstood hero, while I'm stuck picking up the pieces of a marriage he didn't even try to save. Everyone's acting like I'm the bad guy. But let's be real, I'm just trying to survive in a world that doesn't get me. It all started unraveling about a year ago. Theo and I had been married for 4 years, together since we were 23. Back then, he was this charming guy. All big dreams and bigger smiles. He'd talk about starting his own business, being his own boss, making a name for himself. I was into it, supported him, cheered him on. Even helped him brainstorm ideas while we split cheap takeout in our tiny apartment. I was working long hours, climbing the ladder at my job, managing teams, dealing with deadlines. Theo, he was figuring it out, always figuring it out. He'd take freelance gigs, graphic design mostly, but it was never steady. I'd come home exhausted, and he'd be on the couch, sketching or scrolling, talking about how his big break was just around the corner. At first, I didn't mind. I loved him. I thought we were a team. I paid most of the bills, handled the groceries, made sure the rent was on time. He'd cook sometimes, leave dishes in the sink, promise to clean up later. Later never came. I'd nudge him about getting a real job, something stable, and he'd get all defensive. Like, Elise, you don't get it. I'm building something. Building what? A portfolio of half-finished projects. But I'd bite my tongue, because fighting with him was like arguing with a cloud, pointless, no substance. I started noticing how unbalanced it was. I'd be up at 6 a.m., prepping for meetings, while he slept until noon. I'd plan our weekends, book the car for maintenance, remind him to call his mom for her birthday. He'd just nod, say, "You're so good at this stuff, Elise." Like that was a compliment. It wasn't. It was me carrying us. And he was fine letting me. My friend Nora would listen to me vent over coffee and say, "Girl, you're basically his mom. Why are you doing this?" I'd shrug, say it's just how it is. But deep down, it was eating at me. I wanted a partner, not a project. I'd catch myself daydreaming about what life could be like with someone who actually showed up. Someone who didn't need me to hold their hand through every decision. I'd see couples out in public, laughing, splitting the bill, looking like they were equals, and I'd feel this pang in my chest. Theo wasn't like that. He'd let me plan our lives, then act like he was doing me a favor by showing up. I started keeping score in my head every time I paid for dinner, every time I fixed something he forgot, every time I had to be the grown-up. It wasn't fair. I deserved more. Then I met Calvin. He was a client, someone I worked with on a big project. Older, maybe 35. Sharp, confident, the kind of guy who walks into a room and everyone notices. He wasn't flashy, just solid. He'd ask my opinion in meetings. Actually listen, not like Theo who'd half hear me while doodling. Calvin and I started talking more lunch breaks, quick calls to clarify project details. It wasn't anything at first, just nice to feel seen. He'd say things like, "Elise, you're carrying this whole team. They don't deserve you?" And I'd laugh. But inside, it felt like someone finally got it. Someone saw me as more than Theo's babysitter. We'd joke about work. Then it got personal. He'd ask about my life, my dreams. Stuff I hadn't thought about in years because I was too busy keeping Theo afloat. I told him how I used to want to travel, maybe start my own side hustle, but I'd put it all on hold. He'd nod, say, "You're too big for the life you're living, Elise." It wasn't just flattery. It was like he saw the version of me I'd buried. I started looking forward to our talks, craving them. I'd check my phone for his texts, get a little rush when his name popped up. It wasn't love or anything stupid like that. It was just freedom. One night, we were working late, just us in the office, papers everywhere, laptops glowing, the usual chaos. He looked at me, all serious, and said, "Why do you let him drag you down?" I froze. Him. Theo. I hadn't even mentioned Theo's name. But Calvin knew. I mumbled something about loyalty, but he just shook his head. You deserve better than loyalty to someone who doesn't match you. Then he kissed me. It wasn't planned. Wasn't some big romantic moment. It was quick. Intense. Like a spark catching fire. I didn't push him away. I didn't want to. It felt like waking up after years of sleepwalking. After that, it was like I was living two lives. With Theo, I was the same old Elise paying bills, making dinner, pretending everything was fine. I'd smile, nod, act like the perfect wife, but my mind was elsewhere. With Calvin, I was alive. We'd steal moments' coffee runs, late night texts, a quick drink after work. He'd make me laugh, challenge me, make me feel like I was more than just a cog in Theo's machine. I told myself it wasn't serious, just a fling to remind me who I was. Theo didn't suspect a thing. He was too busy creating to notice I was barely there. I'd come home, and he'd be in his office, headphones on, oblivious. I'd look at him and think, you did this. If you were enough, I wouldn't need this. But it wasn't all smooth. I started getting sloppy, staying out later, making excuses that didn't quite add up. Theo would ask, work again? And I'd snap, yeah, someone's got to keep the lights on. He'd flinch, but he wouldn't push back. That made me angrier, like, fight for me. Theo, show me you care. But he'd just go back to his sketches, like I wasn't worth the effort. I'd lie in bed next to him, scrolling through texts from Calvin, feeling like I was winning at something, like I was finally taking back control. Nora, though, she started getting nosy. She'd always been my go-to for venting, but one day she got all serious. Like, Elise, you're playing with fire. You're married. I laughed it off, told her it was just fun. Nothing real. She didn't buy it. You're not yourself anymore. You're obsessed with this guy. Obsessed. Me. No way. I was in control. I told her to chill, that I had it handled. She stopped texting as much after that, and it pissed me off. Like, what? You're too good to support me now. I didn't need her judgment. I had enough of that from Theo's silent stares. I started testing Theo, seeing how far I could push him. I'd forget to tell him I was working late, let my phone die so he couldn't reach me. He'd leave voicemails, all calm and worried, like, Elise, just let me know you're okay. I'd roll my eyes. Think, if you were a real man, you'd do something about it. But he never did. He'd just wait, like a puppy. For me to come home, it made me hate him a little. Okay. A lot. Why couldn't he be like Calvin? Why couldn't he see me the way Calvin did? Calvin, though, he started changing. He'd cancel plans, say he was swamped with work. I'd see him laughing with other people at the office, and it'd make my chest tight. Like, what? I'm not enough now. I started pushing harder, lingering after meetings, sending flirty texts, even showed up at his gym once, acting like it was a coincidence. He'd smile, but it was different, colder. I could feel him slipping away, and it made me desperate. I'd text him late at night, say things like, miss you, when are we hanging out? He'd reply hours later, all vague, like, soon, just crazy busy. Busy? With what? I was giving him everything, and he was acting like I was just some side project. One day, he pulled me aside at work. Elise, this was fun, but I'm not looking for anything long-term. You're married. Let's keep it professional. Professional. I gave him pieces of me I hadn't given anyone, and he calls it fun. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but I just nodded, played it cool. Inside, I was burning. I went home that night and picked a fight with Theo over nothing, some stupid thing about him forgetting to take out the trash. I was shaking, needed to let it out. He didn't fight back, just looked at me, all sad and quiet, and said, Elise, what's going on with you? Nothing's going on. Theo, maybe if you weren't so useless, I wouldn't be this angry all the time. I started spiraling. I'd snap at Theo for breathing too loud, for leaving a glass on the counter, for existing. He'd try to talk, say things like, Elisa, we're a team. Let's figure this out. A team. Where was my teammate when I was paying for everything, planning everything, holding everything together. I'd shut him down, say, "You don't get to play the victim here." He'd go quiet, retreat to his office, and I'd feel this sick satisfaction, like I'd won, but it didn't feel good for long. I'd lie awake, thinking about Calvin, wondering why he didn't want me anymore. I'd check my phone, hoping for a text, but it was always empty. Then it all fell apart. Nora, that traitor, told Theo. I don't know how she knew. Maybe she saw me with Calvin. Maybe I let something slip during one of our coffee rants. But one evening, I came home, and Theo was sitting at the kitchen table, phone in hand, looking like he'd been punched. "Elise, is there something you need to tell me?" His voice was so calm it made my skin crawl. I could have denied it, but his eyes said he already knew, so I admitted it. "Yeah, I messed around with someone. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal." He laughed, this bitter, hollow sound I'd never heard before. "Not a big deal. I've been killing myself trying to be enough for you. And you do this. Oh, come on." Killing himself, sitting on the couch doodling, isn't exactly effort. He didn't yell, didn't cry. He just said, "I can't do this anymore." Then he grabbed his jacket and left. Not to a friend's, not to his parents. Just gone. Left his keys on the table, like he was done with me. Done with us? I thought he'd come crawling back. They always do, but days turned into weeks. And nothing. No calls, no texts. Just silence. I kept going through the motions work. Home. Repeat, but it felt like I was moving through fog. I'd see his empty chair at the table, his untouched sketchbooks, and it had hit me that he wasn't coming back. Not that I wanted him to. He didn't deserve me, but it stung, knowing he could just walk away like that. Work became a nightmare. Calvin got a big promotion, started leading my projects. My projects. I'd been the star, the one everyone relied on, and now I'm taking orders from him. Every time he gave me feedback, it felt like he was mocking me. "Elise, let's tighten this up," he'd say, like I was some intern. I started slipping missing deadlines, snapping at coworkers, forgetting meetings. My boss called me in, said I was off my game. Off my game. I built this team, and now I'm the one getting sidelined. I heard rumors they were thinking of letting me go. Me, the one who used to run the show. I'd sit at my desk, staring at Calvin's office, wondering how he got to win while I was losing everything. Nora ghosted me. My other friends, too. I'd text, call, get nothing back. They'd post about their lives brunches, new boyfriends, vacations, and I wasn't invited anymore, like I was some kind of leper. I'd scroll through their photos, see them laughing, living, and feel this hot, ugly knot in my stomach. They didn't get it. They didn't know what it was like to be me, to carry everything, to feel so trapped you'd do anything to feel alive. I tried reaching out to Nora, left her a voicemail, all casual, like, "Hey, miss you, let's grab coffee." Nothing. She'd picked her side, and it wasn't mine. I saw Theo once, at a coffee shop we used to go to. He was with some girl, laughing, looking lighter than I'd ever seen him. She wasn't even that cute, just normal. Plain hair, plain clothes, the kind of girl you'd walk past without noticing. But he looked at her like she was everything, his hand resting on hers, his eyes all soft. I stood there, frozen, coffee in hand, watching them. They didn't see me, thank God. But I couldn't move. He looked happy. Actually happy, not the fake, forced smile he'd give me when I'd nag him about bills or his career. This was real. I wanted to throw something, scream, anything to make them stop. Instead, I just left, went home, and sat in the dark. I didn't cry. I'm not that weak. But it burned, seeing him move on like I was nothing. I kept replaying it in my head, that moment in the coffee shop. It wasn't fair. I was the one who held us together, who paid for everything, who made sure our life didn't fall apart. And he gets to walk away, find some boring girl, and act like I never existed. I started digging, asking around through mutual friends. Turns out, her name's Lila, and she works at some nonprofit, helping kids or animals or something equally lame. They met at a community event, bonded over some artsy nonsense. Now they're, like, a thing. People kept saying how good they are together, how she brings out his creative side. Creative side? He was doodling nonsense when we were together. I was the one who pushed him to do better. And now she gets the credit. Work kept getting worse. I got a formal warning from my boss. Some nonsense about performance issues. Performance issues. I was the one who got us that big client last year. The one who stayed late to fix everyone else's mistakes. But now Calvin's running the show. And I'm the one on thin ice. I'd see him in meetings, all confident and smug. And I'd want to scream. He'd act like nothing ever happened between us. Like I was just another coworker. I started pushing back, ignoring his feedback, doing things my way. It didn't help. My team started avoiding me, whispering behind my back. I overheard someone say I was unhinged. Unhinged. Me? I'm just trying to survive in a world that's screwing me over. I tried dating again, just to prove I didn't need Theo. Downloaded Hinge, swiped through a few guys, met one for drinks. Some guy named Derek who seemed fine at first. He was into fitness, had a decent job, talked a big game about his goals. But halfway through the date, he started going on about his ex, how she didn't get him. I zoned out, thinking, great, another Theo. I didn't call him back. I didn't have the energy to fix another guy's mess. Besides, I wasn't looking for anything serious. I just wanted to feel something, anything, to fill the hole Calvin left. The apartment started feeling like a cage. Every corner reminded me of Theo, his stupid sketches pinned to the fridge. The coffee mug he loved that I couldn't bring myself to throw out. I'd walk past it and feel this twist in my gut. Not because I missed him screw him, but because it was proof he'd moved on. I started staying out later, avoiding the place. I'd go to bars, not to drink, just to be around people, to feel less alone. But it didn't work. I'd sit there, watching couples laugh, friends joke, and feel like I was on the outside looking in, like I didn't belong anywhere anymore. I ran into Lila once, not with Theo, thank God, but at the grocery store. She was in the produce aisle, picking out apples, looking all wholesome and annoying. I recognized her from the coffee shop, and my stomach dropped. I wanted to walk away, but something made me stay. I grabbed some random fruit, stood a few feet away, and watched her. She didn't notice me, just kept humming to herself, checking her list. I wanted to hate her, to think she was some boring nobody, but she looked content, like she didn't have to try so hard to be enough. I left without buying anything, went home, and threw out Theo's mug. It felt good for about 5 seconds. Now I'm here, alone, in this stupid apartment we used to share. Bills are piling up because, surprise, I was the one keeping us afloat. And now I'm struggling. I got let go from work last week. They called it a mutual decision, but we all know what that means. Calvin's still there, probably gloating. My friends are gone. Nora's living her perfect little life with her perfect little boyfriend. And Theo's out there with Lila, playing happy couple. Everyone's acting like I'm the villain, like I'm the one who ruined everything. But I didn't. I was just trying to feel something, to be more than Theo's babysitter. If he'd been a real partner, I wouldn't have needed Calvin. If Nora had stayed loyal, I wouldn't be alone. If my coworkers weren't so jealous, I'd still be on top at work. It's not my fault. It's theirs. I'm still Elise, still the same woman who deserves better. They just don't see it. And honestly, I don't need them to. I'm fine. I'll always be fine.